He will not always say what you would have him say. Then all at once he'll say something wonderful. The thoughtless things he'll do will hurt and worry you. Then all at once he'll do something wonderful. He has 1,000 dreams that won't come true. You know that he believes in them, and that's enough for you. You'll always go along, defend him when he's wrong, and tell him when he's strong. He is wonderful. He'll always need your love, and when he gets your love, a man who needs your love can be wonderful. Now, ask yourself, do you want to be with a man? Who's yes man? What we call a man or a mouse? I know I would like to be with. I'm not a mouse, I don't like mice. So, we've got to give and take. This is all about give and take and about the menopause. Male menopause, female menopause, there are two if you didn't know. And if you get them together, you're heading for trouble. So strap in your belts, tighten up the seat belts, and get ready. Put your tin hat on, but here we go. When I started with what they call the midlife crisis, which now is a menopause, because it's all out open, everybody talks about it. Boy, it was difficult. I thought I'd got an implant from outer space stuck in here. Suddenly, within a week, turned from a nice, pleasant person to a horrible person who was so tetchy you couldn't talk to her, snappy, and that's not my personality. My husband didn't know what to do with me. I'd get into bed, I'd have feet in bed, feet out of bed. It was winter time and we got this 15 tog duvet. I remember this. And I was so hot one night that I flipped it over to my husband and says, for God's sake, Joe, we can imagine, you couldn't see him for the duvet. Got the window open, pillow one side, pillow the other side, bottom of the bed, this way, that way. I was mental. I remember I got to go to work. I'd be about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Worked at the hospital. I had to drive there, where there's people out on the way, trying to make some chit chat on about 2.5, 3 hours sleep. That's how we went. Come home after a full shift, 8 hours, see to my 3 teenage children, get the tea on, do the housework, everything, you name it. That was it. And then this would continue for quite a few nights, and I was absolutely drained. And I spoke to some friends and they said, I went through it. It sounds like the menopause to me. Go to the doctors, but I tried sage and primrose and it sorted me out. I've been fine. Only been a few weeks for me. So, bit of encouragement there. Anyway, it didn't work. I tried everything. So finally, desperation for me and my poor husband and everybody else, I went to the doctors. I remember going in, and it was a young male doctor. I had a choice between a young male doctor, in about 35, or a young female doctor around about the same age who hadn't experienced all these things, only what they'd seen in the medical books. So off I went, and I sat there. I remember bursting into tears. I was so desperate. And I just thought I'd been invaded by an alien from outer space, really. So anyway, the doctor looked at me, didn't know what to do with me. You're working too hard, Jill. You need to slow down, blah, 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 blah. Well, you can't really slow down if you've got to go to work and you've got children and everything that comes with life you have to deal with. So anyway, I went back again, some more tests, and I told him I was desperate again because by then my marriage was at stake, to be honest, because my husband had got to go to work. And there were some mornings I got out of that bed, you'd think I'd been hung up upside down like a bat. My hair was on end. I can't believe to tell you what it was like, but for me, it was tough. And it's not that for everybody, but some people it is. But I'm digressing. So anyway, gets to the doctors, get my results. Oh, it looks like your hormonal changes, Mrs. Kirk. You're heading, I think, into the menopause. And I was about, I don't know, 45 years old, roughly. So I said, well then, what we're going to do about it? Well, I don't really want to give you anything. It could pass. It will pass. Just give it time. Try to relax. It will pass. Wouldn't give me anything. So another month went on. No change. Still feeling absolutely dreadful. I lost all my energy. I just felt wasn't much point to anything. But anyway, went back again. And I saw a different doctor. Only a younger doctor, in his 40s. Who'd never really been through the menopause, neither had the female doctor, but there it goes. So, in desperation, he said to me, well, I can really give you some HRT. I don't like to do it because you're a bit too early for HRT, but I said, I need something, I've got to have something. So anyway, a bit of persuasion, he gave me some HRT, but he told me beforehand, Jill, this HRT, I have to tell you now, is made out of pregnant mare's urine. And I looked at him and I said, doctor, I don't care if it's made out of pregnant mare's. Boom! I'll take it. I'll take anything. So I took that, and by God, the difference, it was amazing, the difference. I felt like I'd been reborn. Oh, got all my energy back, I did everything. And I was on that for quite a few years until they weaned me off it. And the symptoms gradually eased. They were, I can't say I felt as great as I did before. I was taking the HRT, but it was manageable. And then my husband, of course, it was better for him because he's understanding, but not to do with me. One night I remember sitting in front of the TV next to him, and my legs wouldn't be still. If I could have detached my legs, I could have sent my legs off for a walk around the block twice and said, come back when you've had enough. It would have been great, but I had to go with them, didn't I? In all weathers, walking around the estate, passing people, head down, coming home, settling down, going to bed, getting a little bit more sleep and all that. But anyway, my husband came down with prostate cancer, and part of his medication was tablets to reduce his testosterone. I can't even say the word. Testosterone, yeah. And the side effects of that were hot flushes. Right. So the guys have troubles as well, you know. But anyway, I'll get to that in a bit. So anyway, he was sat there and settee, as I said. And then one day, he said, oh, God, Joe, I've got a pain in my leg. And he had this almighty flush, and it came from his toes, like it used to do for me. And it went all the way through his body. And if he'd got a valve there, he could have gone, it would have been great. And he had these a few times, and he had them quite bad. And I just turned around to him, and I said to him, welcome to my world. You know, I couldn't understand what he was going through, and he couldn't understand what I was going through, because how can you do that? You're not that person. They can tell you how they feel, but you can only try to understand. And then he started with the male menopause. Yes. Andropause, I think they call it andropause. And the men can get to a stage when they get to 50 or whatever, and they think they're a complete failure. Is this my life, how it's going to be? And the hormones can still go down a little bit. They can get a bit tired and a bit grumpy. And as I said, you have to bear with them. It's not often the men get that, but there is one for men. And I think people should know that. It's not just the women, it's the men. And in these days, we should talk about these things and give and take a little bit. And like I said, when you get married, it's not just about a pretty dress on the day the vows you say, they're there for a reason. And okay, we can't always stick to these vows as time gets on. But I think if people think back to that day and all the glamour of the day when you've got your nice dress on and you're young and you've got your party and everybody's looking at you and you've got your photographs. But you don't stay like that. Time moves on, things alter, you know. So I think lots of marriages, there's times when you could call it a day, lots of times, but then you think to yourself, step back and stand in their shoes. How can they expect to know how I am? They're not me. And it's the same for me with them. But even saying that, it's not easy, because anything little thing they say, oh, you know, that's what it's like. And my husband's pretty understanding. And as I say, because he's had the prostate cancer and he's dealing with that, you know, and got the hot flushes, he could understand the way I was, because they are quite difficult to cope with. And the mood swings and everything. But they will get better in time. I mean, it may take a lot longer for some than others, but bear with it, because it will end eventually. Eventually everything goes south, as we say. You know, it's life. We have lots of changes to deal with, but stick it out, and then you'll get there. Anyway, all the best to everybody. And if you're all going through all this, look on andropause and realise that if your husband's moody, you may be starting with that. Because they get to a certain time in their age and think, have I done enough with my life? Am I a failure? Could I have done more? Bills to pay, this to pay. It's hard to deal with it all. So stick it out. Anyway, I'll talk to you later about, there's some more things to do with things like this, and accepting yourself for what you are and everything. But anyway, keep safe and well. And as I said that all the time, and God bless, and I'll see you later. Bye everybody.